So, what do you think would be the North Star metric for any dating app?
The North Star metric is in the end at the end of the day meaningful connections. You want meaningful connection and whatever if it's okay with you, I would like to focus on the modern dating apps.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sugat, and I'm a product manager at Meta. And I create content related to product management and interview experiences. Folks who are here for the first time, don't forget to check some of my previous videos where I've covered a lot of mock interviews, lot of interview experiences, and don't forget to subscribe the channel so that it reaches out to so many viewers. Today, we have Supriya, who you might actually remember from our last video of interview experience at Bumble. We are here with her again to do a live mock interview, and the interview topic will be metrics and analytical questions. This type of questions are very much asked in most of the product interviews, and it would be a fun to see how Supriya, actually answered to one of the typical questions being asked in a peer interview. Uh, Welcome, Supriya, and we are very excited to have you for this mock interview.
Hi, Sugat. Thanks for having me. I'm a bit nervous, so I hope this goes well.
Don't worry, you would be absolutely fine. And yeah, I think you have done a lot of interviews, and I'm pretty sure that audience would love to hear your answer and learn out of it.
Yeah, I hope I'm able to give some cool tips as well to other people who are trying to brush their product skills.
Absolutely. So the question is, how would you define the success for a dating app?
Hmm. Interesting. Thank you for the question. So, I think the first thing I would like to do is define dating, right? So, dating, in my definition, would be finding a connection. The interesting thing about that is connections can mean multiple things. Connections can be, you know, long term. They can be casual. They can be online as well. So the first thing that I would want to ask is like, are we thinking about? So there are categories of dating apps as well, which you'll notice, and success would be different for different categories of dating as per that definition. So you have, all of these traditional apps which are looking at matchmaking for long term in the sense of marriage. People looking for, their life partner and their life partner with certain, stricter conditions and
Yep.
preferences. For example, in India, we have shadi.com, and that itself is kind of a dating app because if you are using it for yourself,
Yep.
it's classified as a dating app. So, and then you have the modern dating apps right now, which is like the swipe culture, and that's again got different type of success because the way you interact with each other on both of these apps is different. So, if it's okay with you, I would like to focus on the modern dating apps.
Absolutely. Glad you called it out and you didn't go ahead with other dating apps like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah, what have you experienced anything on these apps?
Not me, but I've seen bunch of posts and coming out of that. So there are some misconceptions going around that. But yeah, this is just for a lighter note.
Yeah, so then let's focus on this category of dating apps, which is, and the popular ones in the market being Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. They're also global relatively, so used across so many countries. Um, yeah, so we're focusing on measuring success
Yeah,
for the modern dating apps.
absolutely.
And even in modern dating apps, you have, of course, a combination of intentions. There are people looking for casual, and there are people looking for, more serious relationships. But I guess that's what we'll dive into with the metrics. So, looking at to give myself some structure, I'd want to categorize. the metrics of success depending on a domain or a category, right? Because, of course, the app has a goal, but then there are a lot of goals within the overall goal of, finding connections or making connections
Hmm.
successful in a dating app. So, if you were to look at what does success mean, success could mean something in the activation and acquisition journey. It could also mean something different in the engagement journey, and it can also mean something different in the monetization journey. So I will go through each of them one by one so that we can properly see what are the metrics that you would want to analyze and how success is analyzed in each of those categories. So the first thing, of course, for any app to be successful, you need people on it,
Yeah.
right? And that's where acquisition and activation comes along. And you need to be able now, success here is a combination of new users.
Mm-hmm.
You want more users to come onto your app. You should have them register and start using their app, completing their profile. So new users is not just in terms of downloading the app, it's also completing the registration flow
Hmm.
and doing the first action on the app, whatever it may be, whether it's a vote or a chat. That's activation, right?
Got
And an important part of acquisition is also the kind of diversity and the gender
it.
ratio you're acquiring onto
Absolutely.
the app. So just acquiring 99% men is, for example, not success.
Okay.
So I would say having a healthy gender ratio is considered success, and so percentage of women and non-binary gender would be very important in this category. And how I would measure that success is by looking at the industry, what is the standard, and I would try to be better.
Yeah.
And that would be success, right? So that would be the acquisition angle of it. If I look at engagement, that's pretty interesting because different apps have different models of how people connect with each other. And I think depending on, what that action is,
Hmm.
you want people to take um, a lot of action because you want to engage them. But it's a tricky catch 22 because if you're forcing a lot of people to make many votes, it could also mean that you're not giving them a connection that they like, which is why they have to keep making more votes,
Yeah.
right? So everything is a balance between relevance and engagement in the dating app, in my opinion.
Can you please help understand this term vote here?
Yeah, sure. So when I say vote here, I mean the action of saying yes or no
Okay.
when you see a profile, which is what you see in these apps. Um, a vote could also be with a message, depending on
Hmm.
the app, of course, or it could be in the form of a swipe. So, like, that depends, right?
Yeah.
And that's where engagement sort of comes in, where how much action is someone really taking.
Yeah.
There are only two things you can do in these apps, which is chat and sort of decide if you like someone or don't like someone, right? So, and that's where engagement and success is important. Success isn't more engagement,
Hmm.
success is the right type of engagement.
True.
You want to drive users to make more positive engagement for them. So rather than, and this is my perspective of what success is, rather than number of overall votes placed, I would look at number of yes votes placed.
Hmm.
Rather than total number of chats that have been sent out, I would look at how much mutual conversation is happening.
Hmm.
So that's how I would measure success and engagement. Then looking at retention. Now retention is a lagging metric. So you definitely want to see people retained after using the app after the first day
Yeah.
and the first week, the standard D1 and week one
Yeah.
retention. What's interesting in online dating is that maybe month one retention is not a good thing, because if you have people using your app perpetually, are you really doing your job well in
Hmm.
terms of giving them the connection they want? So again, the fun thing about the online dating and match apps would be not all churn is bad churn.
Correct. Yeah.
Um, and there's also a monetization angle because these apps need to make money. So I would also look at success being how many people are paying for premium membership
Hmm.
or paying for any feature on the app. And I think that's important because um, I don't know if the company can really succeed if they're not making the money. So um,
Okay.
that's where that sort of comes along. In addition to these, I think there's also, of course, NPS.
Mm-hmm.
You want you want a good NPS score for your app,
Yeah.
and that sort of speaks towards the social angle of if people like your app, they'll talk about your app, and other people will download your app.
Correct.
So building that NPS score sort of measures the ability your app's positive impression in the market. And yeah, I think the last one would probably be reactivation, which is pretty interesting again. When you're looking at casual dating, from that angle, you want your users to come back to you if they're casually dating and not
Got
switch
it.
to another app, right? So that would also be an important success criteria.
So, what do you think would be the North Star metric for any dating app?
The North Star metric is in the end at the end of the day meaningful connections, because acquisition engagement aside, you want meaningful connection and whatever that means, in terms of the hardcore metrics, right? Meaningful and connections.
Got it.
Meaningful being something they're looking for,
Hmm.
giving them what they're looking for, and connections being in the form of whatever it is, votes or chats or whatever it is. So I think that's how I would define the North Star.
Got it. Just a final follow-up question. In the dating industry and in the social networking industry, there are a lot of bad actors or fake profiles. So uh, how would you ensure your ecosystem is safe?
Hmm. So, by how would you ensure, do you mean how would I measure it?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. So, how would I measure that? Right. Great question. And that's where I guess the activation sort of uh, sub metrics come in,
Mm-hmm.
where once people are registering onto your app, you want to verify their identity. And
Got
within that registration flow, are they verifying their identity at that point, or are they able to do it at a later point of time? And that's where the mix of your users acquired matters so much. You want like all of your users in an ideal world
Yeah.
to be real profiles. So photo verification would be the way to do it. And so I would say percentage photo verified users
Hmm.
on the app should be um, 95% plus. And also, it's interesting you brought this up because there's also cost associated with fake profiles, right?
Yeah.
Um, there's moderation and that's all manual
Yeah.
and that has cost. So you want to reduce cost
Correct.
of that. So, how would you use tools to reduce that manual effort? So, I guess the way to measure success in terms of that is not just your percentage verified,
Hmm.
but is also reducing cost of um, this moderation
Yeah.
and using tools to do so.
Thank you, and thanks a lot for sharing this answer, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. This was a very detailed answer of how do you measure success metrics for any kind of product. Do check this out if you are preparing for any of your upcoming PM interviews, and share it among all your peers. Thank you, Supriya, for part of this mock interview.
Thanks, Sugat. Did I clear the interview?
Absolutely, I think top of the mind. I think this was a great interview, and you covered a lot of good angles to it. So I got all the relevant signals which I was looking for.
Oh, thank you so much. All
Cool.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you.